I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Everybody, we're on 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston live fan page. We're up and at 'em this beautiful Wednesday morning. It's a Wildcard edition of the Martin Houston Show, which means you can bring any topic you want to the table, and we'll be all over the board with topics of our own, but we want to invite you to be a part of the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Give us a call, get in on the conversation, or post your comments at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter or Martin Houston Live on Facebook. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. With it being a Wild Card Wednesday, we can talk about more about the NCAA, just what's going on there. I heard got a different take on an article I was reading about the NCAA. Did they take the coward's way out by taking this to the Supreme Court? And did the Supreme Court do something that they fought it, but they knew it was coming? But instead of the NCAA and Mark Emmert being men and making a decision and having to have the pushback from the educational world and the presidents of these educational schools who were pushing and fighting against the NCAA, maybe they wanted that ruling to come. Just a different angle on that story. We can talk about that. Of course, not as exciting around these parts, but the NCAA baseball World Series happening and out in Omaha, so we can talk about that. And of course, SEC struggling a little bit, but did a hero emerge last night? And of course, if you love basketball or not, something happened last night. Pretty interesting game that's worth some conversation if you love teamwork and execution, which I absolutely do. And of course, there's been some back and forth on Twitter with the Auburn and Alabama, who's better, Bryce Young or Bo Nix. So that conversation as well. And then, of course, we did not finish the whole name, image, and likeness, educational benefits, pay for play. And what can all of this mean in terms of this ruling by the Supreme Court? Does this lead to a different, better place for college football? Did Kavanaugh, as one article said yesterday, the Monday's decision was very narrow in its scope, but Kavanaugh's decision created a hole a truck could drive through for future challenges to the NCAA's model. And if you've been under a rock, you may be wondering what I'm talking about, but the court holds up that the NCAA has violated the antitrust laws. The court's decision makes an important and overdue course correction. And Kavanaugh said that pretty much the NCAA couches his argument for not paying student athletes in innocuous labels, but the labels cannot disguise the reality. The NCAA's business model would be flatly illegal in almost any other industry in America. And the article said communism, basically. So reading that in an AL.com article. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, team. How y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing good today, Martin. Having a wonderful Wednesday. Got the crew in here, Step and Michaela, and we're having a great day. We're ready to get into some wild card action. It was great to see you yesterday, Martin.
Good to see you yesterday, too, man. We had a great time yesterday at Celebrate Local. Great event put on by the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama. Jim Page and his team did a great job. And, of course, the only live and local radio station, media group there, Town Square Media and Tide 109, doing some live broadcasts. So I was glad to be a part of that, and glad to see some of you guys in person. Hadn't seen you in a while since I go from home a lot, but yeah, Joe, very very interesting. We still haven't. I think fully understood what all that ruling has meant, but what do you think about the possibility that Mark Emmert took the coward's way out? That he knew that this was coming, but instead of him making a ruling and all of the presidents and commissioners being mad at him, he fought it all the way to the Supreme Court, and then they made the decision for him.
I agree with you. I think coward's way out, I think might be a little blunt, but I think it's exactly right what's going on. And they've always kind of done that as the NCAA, kind of sat on their hands, kind of ask other governing bodies to step in and rule. The NCAA, Mark Emmert, they're only interested in collecting the money. They're not really collecting it. They're not really interested in running things and being in charge.
Yeah, so like I said, it was just an interesting thought. I have not put a whole lot of thought behind it, but I'm like, I could see that. I have seen situations where leaders have felt a certain way, but for political fallout or to prevent political fallout from those they represent, and I'm not talking about politics in terms of just candidate. I'm talking about, pastors, business owners, CEOs, etc., feeling a certain way, but knowing that some of their leaders may feel differently, or some of those who have vote and influence, instead of making the tough decision, they kind of let it just push its way up, because the reality of it is this was an educational decision that was made. Think about a medical school or a law school, Joe, or some programs that have really, really postgraduate programs. And now they're being told that they may have to extend free ride to an athlete once he finishes with his eligibility, and pay for him to go on to medical school on scholarship, or to law school on scholarship, or to that postgraduate program, because that's what was passed. I know I'm still talking to people that's talking about pay for play and all that, and I'm like, that's not what was being decided. on that day, even though Kavanaugh really did, in my opinion, open the door, that you got at least one vote up there that will say, because he specifically said the word, what they used to hide behind not paying the players, even though that was not, and Mark Emmert kind of blew his statement off and said, that wasn't what this was about and all that. But I'm like, dude, that's the highest court in the land giving a legal opinion. It matters. But what do you think that more so than the commissioners of the SEC and the other conferences, do you think that this, like I said, the presidents, how are they feeling about this decision right now?
I think the presidents are probably not. Obviously, they're going to come out in public and say that they're for education and they're for, of course, they're going to espouse that it's a good thing, and it is a good thing. But I think on the economic side of things, they're probably looking at their accountants and looking at what their bank statements look like and think, oh man, this is going to cost us more money. And while a lot of schools can't afford it, nobody wants to spend more money. Nobody wants to be up their spending. If they really didn't have to.
Hey, absolutely. You're getting all that money and you're not having to spend any of it out. And I was talking to an individual, and I won't call their name, and they were like, well, man, they get this, and this. And I said, yeah, but think about this. The NCAA and the presidents, the commissioners, the coaches, and all of that can go out. If they need more money, they can make a rule like changing the playoffs. Literally, what was the conversation, Joe, before COVID about how long it would be before we had additional playoff games, no matter how many teams it was? I mean,
it was probably. They were going to run out the whole contract. We were going to run the contract out before making big changes.
Yeah, before it was even. I mean, we weren't even talking about it, right? Had you heard anybody even talking about that? No, you didn't hear anybody talking about it in the season. But in a matter of a few months from the end of the season till now, when the numbers came out and the money came out, all of a sudden it was a good idea to expand the playoffs and not even wait till the contract's up. I mean, they're talking about possibly doing this, not this season, not the next season, but the one after that. They're talking about possibly changing the 12 team in 2 years. And they were talking about not even talking about it till the other contract was up. But yet, the players have nothing. They're going to be asked to do more and more, and they have no say so. They have no voice, no pushback or anything if they want that scholarship. So people always say, well, they have a free scholarship. So if you were getting when I played, we won it at 13-0. We were the first team to have 11 regular season games, an SEC championship game, and then the national championship, 1 versus 2, 13-0. Well, let's say whatever the scholarship is worth, Joe. If you add 4 more games to that, doesn't that devalue what the scholarship is worth?
Oh yeah, if you're playing more games and receiving the same benefits, then yes, it does. You are basically getting for lack of a better term, it's not exactly this, but you're basically getting paid less per game. Right,
less per game, and then less when you start thinking about practices and all of that. Oh, but the scholarship is just about education, right? So let's limit educational benefits to you as an athlete, but the athlete part of the student athlete, let's keep increasing that, but let's limit the student part of your scholarship. That's what the court listened to. That's what the court heard. And they had, they had to make this decision. Now we're going to see how it pans out. And what I want to do, coming back on the other side, Joe, I want you, Seb, and Michaela to kind of think through, what do you think one of the potential changes is, or impact changes? It can go from either way. It can go from whether you think it's going to impact schools, scholarships, players, coaches, etc. On the other side, I like to get those guys. They're students right now, Sepp and Michaela, and of course you and I are old hands, but we'll give an opinion as well. And if you're listening right now, you can call in 205-342-9904 and give us your opinion as well. Please stay tuned for more conversation on the Martin Houston Show, and we'll wrap up today's show with Scottie, Hollins, Johnson and Marshall, Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week. And so we appreciate you being a part of the program. More conversation on the other side.
Market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit him online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Thanks to the kind folks over at Overflow Express Wash. OverflowExpressWash.com is where you can find them online. They are there to help you keep your car clean inside and out. Great family atmosphere. So go check them out at both of their locations, one on Skyland Boulevard and one just off McFarland Boulevard in Northport. That's Overflow Express Wash. Basic wash packages starting at $7. And, of course, membership packages available as well. To get all the specifics of what they can do for you, go check them out at overflowexpresswash.com. Got a couple callers going on, but before I get into it, in case we don't get to this, I mentioned in the opening monologue about Mississippi State, Joe, with the big 8th inning last night. Kind of crazy. 4-0 game. Got started with a 2-run. Mississippi State scoring got started with a 2-run homer by Kellum Clark. And then they had a pitching change. And SEC Player of the Year, Tanner Allen, hit a 3-run bomb to give the Bulldogs a 5-4 lead. And the reason I bring up the Tanner Allen thing is this is a kid that you love to have seen playing in Tuscaloosa. I don't know if you knew this or not, Joe. He's an Alabama kid from USM Wright Prep. But, you know, I don't know if it's just because of the scholarship, but you wonder, did that have any effect potentially on him choosing Mississippi State versus choosing Tuscaloosa and Alabama to play for, because Mississippi State's ability to give full rides, even though they're not necessarily called scholarships. So, did you catch any of that?
I watched the very end of the Mississippi State, and oh gosh,
Virginia. Yeah, I think it was Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Then Virginia, and they were upset. I turned it on in the 9th inning, and so I saw just the last part of it.
Yeah.
And just impressive by Mississippi State to come back in that game.
Yeah.
And hold strong for the SEC. You mentioned scholarships and how the structure of things work. I think it's a big advantage for Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, kind of the way that and good for them. This is this is a program and a sport that those two schools obviously are invested in, and so I think that it makes perfect sense that they're going to find a way to maximize their competitive edge.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the Mississippi State. Alabama's landlocked literally by Tennessee, Mississippi State, Georgia, Florida, and LSU, pretty much SEC schools that are able, through different means, through different scholarship programs, non-athletic programs, via lottery and other money sources, able to give more full rides or pay more toward the education. And it shows in those programs, and no one's more vested in making the best of a program that they can compete in than Vanderbilt. Of course, they fell yesterday as well. And then just a quick sidebar, the craziness of the NBA. I saw a perfect pass. I don't know if you saw this. Ball went out of bounds, Joe, with 0.9 of a second left in the game. And Crowder for the Phoenix Suns throws a pass. He's on the baseline near the out of bounds sideline, and he has to throw a pass. They review it, which I would love to get your thoughts on this. They review it, so gets a timeout. Pretty much, the Phoenix Suns gets a timeout because they review the play to see if they can who the ball went out on. Well, while they do that, the Phoenix Suns take advantage of that and drew up a play. So they got an extra timeout. And they executed it perfectly. He threw a pass, and the ball went over the goal. So it's directly over the goal, which in typical ways, that would be considered a shot and it's goaltending. But on an out of bounds pass, it's a pass. So you can grab it, dunk it, catch it, pull it off the goal, whatever. He dunks it in. They win. They go up by 1. The Phoenix Suns over the Clippers, and then of course me and my nerdiness. If they have a rule that's similar to what got Alabama, Joe, and against Auburn with the 1 second with the field goal. If you dunk the ball and you cannot do anything unless it's 3 seconds, right? In basketball, how can you 3/10 of a second, right? How can you run that play, dunk the ball, and then only take 2/10 of a second off? When they say you have to have at least 3/10, but that's what they got. The Clippers got a chance to score, didn't score, and of course that ran things out. But anyway, we're gonna get to those 2 calls, and I want you guys to hold on to what you guys think a potential change may be, and we'll get to those as well. And if you're out there and you got a potential call and of what you think may be the result of the NCAA, let me hear from you. Super Joe, you're in with the Martin Hughes Show. What's on your mind, sir? Yep, Super Joe, he's out of there. Let's go to Pat. Pat, you're in with Martin Houston. What's on your mind, sir?
Pat is here. I want to talk about the playoff picture. That with 12 teams, first 4 get a bye.
Correct.
But now, I got a question. Is this going to slap the Rose Bowl dead square in the jaw for the 1st of January? Because the first round of the playoffs will be played around the 1st of January.
No, with the way they're doing it, if I'm not mistaken, Pat, first round, of course, will be played on the home field, so that's going to be played earlier. The way that
earlier than the bowl games.
Well, I mean, if the bowl games still exist, they'll still be playing bowl games.
I'm talking about the Rose Bowl.
From the way they described it, those games, the additional games will just happen earlier, but there will not be. And Joe, jump in if I'm misspeaking. The semifinal and the final will be the same way it's always been.
Okay. All right. Well, here's my deal on it. That I think it's unfair to us poor Alabama people if they make us, if we get a first round bye, and they won't give us a home field advantage for the second ball game. I think that's wrong.
No, they're not.
I mean, because Martin, I like going to all the ball games, but hey, even for me, and I'm in better shape than most folks, but I saw out in California when we went out there in 2009. I can remember people going down and pulling money out of their 401ks in order to go to that ball game.
Well, I mean,
it's wrong.
I think that they should give a home game, but it is an option.
That'd be a special thing.
Like I said, I would love for them to do a home game. I would love for Alabama to play a playoff game. Could you imagine a playoff game in Tuscaloosa? It would be nuts. But Pat, you know that's an option of whether or not you go to the ball games, right?
No, it ain't an option. That might be an option for you, but it ain't an option for me.
Well,
come on, Martin. Hey, we was at the airport up there. Remember when we was up there and was going down to Miami?
Yeah.
And, I got on the airplane because I didn't give that girl a sack full of candy. You didn't realize that ahead of you. I did. I gave her a sack full of M&Ms. That was awful that you didn't get on that airplane. I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah.
But I had to sleep at the airport. You there?
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to sleep at the airport. They brought me into the wrong airport. I was supposed to go into Fort Lauderdale where my hotel was. They brought me into Miami. It's the only way I could get there.
Pat, And people, if you're wondering what's going on, Pat and I ran into each other at an airport when we were trying to get down to see Miami play a game a few years ago. Alabama play a game down in Miami a few years ago, and I ended up missing the opportunity to go to the national championship game because my connecting flight got delayed. Yeah. And so I had to come back to Tuscaloosa and watch it on home. And I watched it at home, and I survived that ordeal.
Especially though when you had a deal on tickets, the price was right on the tickets so far.
Oh,
that's what hurt.
My price was right because mine were free. I had a company paying for the whole trip. It was a trip I won. So, but it.
All right. Anyway, enough said about that. Hopefully that we don't run into that kind of situation again. I hope you find somebody that'll pay for your trip again. But
well, yeah,
right.
I'll take somebody paying for my trip again too. Thanks, Pat.
Have a great day, Mark.
All right, have a great day. All right, yeah, it is an option for most people. Pat said it's not for him, but most people, you're not required to go to the Alabama games, but that is going to be expensive. I think that it'll be interesting to see if they put that quarterfinal round in some type of bowl connection ties as well. I sometimes wonder if this 12-game playoff part of it is maybe to save a few more bowl games and make them important as well. I don't know if they'll have that second round of the playoffs tied directly to bowls like they have the semifinals and finals or not. But I would not be surprised by that as a move as well to help save. And I do think with the 12-team playoffs, think you'll see some bowls go away as a result of it. But some of the other bowls may be saved. Who knows? So coming back on the other side, we're going to get the team, Joe and Sepp and Michaela. We're going to get their thoughts on potential changes as a result of the ruling by the Supreme Court of the United States of America in terms of no limit on educational benefits. What may be some ramifications of that in terms of college football, college athletics, and the way we see them today. That conversation and more coming up next right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks on this Wednesday morning. Traffic fairly light and moving well around town. Of course, during the morning, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give us a call. 205-886-8886. Now's the best time to drive home in a brand new Nissan from your hometown dealer. Townsend Nissan, great selection at top dollar for your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Over the past year, I've helped thousands turn their lives around. And today, I'm going to tell you the one simple trick that will change everything. All you have to do is...
And now a message from our sponsor.
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat, RV, or other outdoor vehicle for great protection and even more savings. Progressive.
And that's it. You'll have that for the rest of your lives. I'm so excited for you.
Progressive. There's never a bad time for great protection. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
For full-service auto and truck repair, take it to Norris Automotive. The factory-trained technicians at Norris Automotive can handle all major and minor repairs, including air conditioners and heaters, computer diagnostics, front-end alignment, electrical and computer systems, brake service, alternators, starters, water pumps, and engine rebuilds. building. Norris Automotive also offers fleet service and inspections. Trust the pros at Norris Automotive for your auto and truck repair. Norris Automotive, 919 31st Street, just off 10th Avenue.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, boss man, you're hot in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Alabama won. Credit Union has a great promotion. Things are getting closer, wrapping up with the mortgage promotion. Of course, it'll be followed up immediately with great auto promotion, and we'll get you the details on that once it's released. But if you're in the market for a mortgage or refi, then you need to check out Alabama One. $2,000, up to $2,000 cash back in terms of the closing costs. No admin fees, no app fees, processing fees. So you're going to save lots of money, and you're going to get one of the best rates in town or anywhere in the state when it comes to Alabama One. So go to alabama1.org. You can find out all the information there and actually apply online, and our team will reach back out to you. That's alabama1.org. And hey, once you get that taken care of, Alabama One Insurance will be there to help you make sure that you're properly insured. We'll review your coverages, reduce your premium, and you can relax knowing that you're properly covered. That's alabama1.org and alabama1insurance.com. All right, Joe, y'all ready?
Yeah, I'm with you, Martin. We're talking name, image, and likeness and changes, and we're also talking about educational benefits from this past week, correct?
Yes. First of all, what's the impact of the ruling by Supreme Court of the United States of America? Do you see any immediate changes as a result of that rule?
Well, I see,
or potential changes, not necessarily immediate.
I see a guy like NATO that's trying to take advantage of that rule, or trying to enhance his program with that rule. Maybe getting another trip abroad, perhaps. For his basketball team. You looked at Alabama played in Canada just a little bit before last basketball season. So I reported NATO, it's his first season, before the COVID season. And you might see him take another trip abroad, take his team maybe somewhere in Europe to expose, educational purposes, obviously, but they're going to play basketball as well. You might see Nick Saban ramp up the tutoring program in the Alabama football facilities, whereas you might have had to schedule a time and had less times with tutors, less available times with tutors. Maybe you have tutors on a more 1-to-1 ratio for your students. I think it's a great thing, honestly, and I think that really aiding the athletes in their education. Obviously, we all love to see what they do on the field, but making the educational side not necessarily like as easy as possible, but opening up as many opportunities as possible. I think there's a difference between extra opportunities to succeed and kind of making things easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Does Sep or Michaela have anything they want to add?
I mean, honestly, I think the Supreme Court's, ruling unanimously was kind of surprising to me personally.
I think it was surprising to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare that you get any kind of unanimous verdict from them, but they were certainly unanimous on basically being against the NCAA's whole business model of sorts. Yeah. And, I think that's something that people for the longest time, have thought, it's just the NCAA. That's how they do it. And that's kind of, I think, how the NCAA has thought of themselves, but I think it's definitely going to see a lot of change in the next, couple years, really. And it's going to be interesting to see how that changes the fabric of college sports as a whole.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Michaela, got anything?
I think we're good, Martin. I think that we're excited to see how see how the academic side of things works. Maybe Alabama can add more academic programs. We saw KB Sides recently. She's transferring out of the softball program, not because I think she doesn't like softball or doesn't like Alabama, but she's leaving to go pursue other academic opportunities. Maybe this will, obviously that budget side of things, the academic side of things has to work out also, but could create more academic programs.
And you kind of hit on this, Joe. Couple things I think may change that are, I think, realistic and most likely and potential overshoots from an educational benefit side of things is that we know that I just drew a blank on his name. Coach before Nate Oates. What was our coach name before Nate Oates basketball?
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson. God.
Sorry, I should.
No, that's my COVID. That's my COVID brain. That's one of my things is names escape me from the effect of COVID. So Avery Johnson started the whole Canada road trip thing, right? Alabama has now gotten 3 or 4 players from Canada that are impactful to this program. So just think if that was able to happen, and he did that on purpose, and then you're able to create that type of experience for the players, but also it helps your program. And to your point, I think he may do something to help in that sense. But one of the things I thought of, does a third-year guy, Joe, potentially come back for a 4th year to get started in that medical program or that lawyer program or that post program that you can now, does that entice them in any way to potentially stay another year? Does it entice a guy to be more willing to take a red shirt to get that extra year of education? That's always been an option. But when you know that there's a lot more to it and it could lead to, a potential overseas or a study opportunity abroad, does it make them more likely to stay? So that'll be interesting to see how it impacts those. Here's one question that a guy he's an advocate, Jason Setchin, and he's from Miami, an attorney. He's been an advocate for college athletes forever. He said on the crazy end, he could see, some of the big boys, Joe, ultimately pulling out, because we always say the NCAA needs to go to this and this. We know Coach Bryant, now I guess is 40 years ago, looked at 40 plus years ago, looked at, possibly pulling out from the NCAA. Is this what leads to it? If the NCAA, doesn't get on board and start helping and leading, because I think you're going to have to have some type of unification and consistent leadership in this world we're heading into, Joe. You cannot let it be led by the states and each state having a little different impact on educational benefits and name, image, and likeness. You can't have conferences having different rules and different things like that. You can, but I think that'll be destructive. And so I think
destructive because you can't have Nick Saban and Brian Harsin. I mean, obviously you can, but they shouldn't be wasting their time or spending their time lobbying to Kay Ivey to change laws to help them out in recruiting. That seems like that's just a mess waiting to happen.
And that's why I say I think that you'll either see the NCAA become the legal body for the smaller schools, and this guy even said his words exactly was one of his crazy predictions was that you'll have the formation of conferences that pay athletes and they'll no longer be members of the NCAA. Some version of that, I think, is a reality, possibly. The Power Five end up with a commissioner, some type of commissioner over the Power Five conferences. They grow, and then they have a set of rules because the haves and the have-nots just got bigger. Okay, if you were fighting name, image, and likeness, and that wasn't going to cost you anything necessarily directly, other than a student may get an athlete may get something that would have gone to you, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to see the conferences kind of separate. And I was always saying they were going to separate under the umbrella of the NCAA. They may have to step out from under that and then have their own commissioner to do that. There's so much that can happen out of this. We'll kick that can to tomorrow and down the road as we get more and more details from that. We'll go ahead and get the break here, so we'll have time for Scottie Hollins to bring us an encouraging Christian moment of the week. But there's some serious potential changes, and I will say, Joe, with all of this happening, it's almost like the perfect storm for the NCAA to be destroyed. Name, image, and likeness, 12-team playoff, which they don't get money out of the college football playoff anyway, as an organization per se. It's separate. And this new ruling, nails are being hammered into the coffin of the NCAA. We'll see if it does it in or if they survive on life support, or they may even form another whole organization. That conversation waits for you on tomorrow. Coming up next, we will have Scottie Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presenting us the Christian Moment of the Week, courtesy of the Johnson & Marshall Dentistry.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks on this Wednesday morning. Traffic fairly light and moving well around town. Of course, during the morning, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, just give us a call. 205-886-8886. Now's the best time to drive home in a brand new Nissan from your hometown dealer. Townsend Nissan, great selection at top dollar for your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread. Good morning, crews are working on permanent repairs to water lines damaged or put at risk by Tropical Storm Claudette's passage over the weekend. City of Tuscaloosa continuing to ask residents south of the Black Warrior River to conserve water. Permanent repairs are expected to be completed over the next couple of days. City of Northport continues to operate under a local state of emergency as crews work to remove debris left by flash flooding on Saturday. Most impacted area, the Willowbrook Trailer Park. I'm Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
And Pearl River Resort and Casinos roll in a player and drive out a winner this June. You can cruise into summer in a brand new SUV. Visit every Friday and Saturday in June, where one lucky winner each hour will win $300 bonus bet each week, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. But we're not stopping there. On Saturdays, June 12th and June 26th, one lucky winner each night will drive away in a brand new 2022 Toyota Highlander. Cruise into summer in a brand new SUV this June, only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties. Must be 21 to gamble.
In the concert event of a lifetime, come experience the dynamic energy of one of the most accomplished musicians of our time, Carlos Santana. Blessings and Miracles Tour 2021. Friday, September 24th, Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Take a trip through the hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and a backwards flip into the unknown. Reserve seat tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Part of the Coca-Cola Concert Series. Produced by Red Mountain Entertainment. This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can get affordable health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as July 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, boss man. Scottie's on. You're hot in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's been a couple weeks, but so glad to have Mr. Scottie Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, back on with us to encourage us how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play. We do this each week courtesy of the great folks over at Johnson & Marshall Dentistry. Check them out online at dentistuscaloosa.com. Good morning, Scottie. How you doing, sir?
Martin, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing well, man. I kick it over to you to encourage us.
Awesome. Hey, we've been doing a series called Compassion for Those Around Us That Leads to Action. And I think that's very strategic, compassion for those around us, because one thing I've mentioned in the last couple of weeks, or at least 2 weeks ago when we did this, was when you think about those who are around you, it's not by coincidence or accident. It's a part of God's providence, meaning He has a plan for your relationships, specific relationships that He's blessed you with, for those around you. So compassion for those around you, that leads to action. So this week I want to talk about my man Paul. And again, I could talk about him for the rest of the year, actually, on this topic, because he is just he was a phenomenal person and a phenomenal one of the apostle who wrote 13 of the 27 New Testament books, just to give you an idea of just the type of person he was. So anyway, want to get into this message, Acts 26, and again, this is compassion for those around him that led to action. So Paul has been, check this out, arrested again, not for stealing, not for threatening someone, but he's been arrested again, Martin, for preaching the gospel, for telling people about Jesus. And so he's been arrested, and now he's going to go before King Agrippa and give his defense and to share with him. Now I want to make sure, and I may not even get into the main meat of the message today, just because I want to make sure we understand what's happening here. When you think about compassion for those around us that leads to action, a lot of times you have to, in order to show that compassion, you kind of got to get out of yourself. All right. So in order to even have compassion for those around us, you got to get out of yourself. We looked at Jesus, who came upon a multitude of people, and as soon as he saw this multitude, it says he was full of compassion, which meant he took the time to notice, to see them, to notice that they had need, and that it actually bothered him. Well, Paul here is about to give a defense, literally, that can save his life, right? And he chooses to, again, show compassion to King Agrippa. And how does he show compassion? So King Agrippa is asking him, hey, man, why were you arrested? And he could take the easy way out, Martin. He could kind of water down what he's been preaching, about Jesus, he could, say, hey, if there's a big misunderstanding, they thought I was saying this, but I was really saying that. Paul says, I'm going to take this opportunity to share about Christ with King Agrippa, knowing that King Agrippa, by him, Paul choosing to do that, King Agrippa could have him killed. Could.
Right.
And so what's so cool, though, is he does this. And so as I'm sharing, what Paul does here, I'm going to give you four questions or 4 points that Paul hits on as he talks to King Agrippa. And as he does this, what he's doing, guys, is he's sharing his personal testimony. All right? He's saying this. And he's sharing his personal testimony in 4 points. And sharing his personal testimony in 4 points is his success in showing compassion to King Agrippa and this other guy, Festus, because they were right in front of him, and this was the best thing he could share. Here's the 4 things he shares. Here's my life before Christ. How did I become aware of my need for Christ? When did I accept Christ, and how has Christ changed my life? Understand this, guys. Paul was again one of the greatest apostles, and Jesus was the center point of his life. After Paul gave his life to Christ, Jesus became the center point of his life. Jesus is the center point of history. We look at BC, that's before Christ, AD, Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. So Jesus Christ was not only the center point of history, he was the center point of Paul's story. So I want you to, and I'll stop there, I'll kind of close it up, but and next week we'll go into the actual message. But I want you to understand that Paul was not concerned about himself. He wasn't concerned about how this could negatively affect him, or whether he would even lose his life. He had so much compassion for Agrippa that he was willing to lose his life to make sure he knew about Christ.
That's awesome, Scottie. And I heard a message this Sunday, Father Day. I took the afternoon to be re-energized and went and heard Chris Hodges at the Hollins, and he talked about a message of honoring others above yourself, and then he challenged everybody that heard it to do that, and that showed me that if you're gonna have compassion, you got to honor that other person, and it's I've had about 3 opportunities to do that, which I don't think, had I not heard that message and then what you had been preaching, that I would have did the action I did. So thank you and thank him, man. So we'll be back next week to continue this conversation. Tell them real quick where they can find you, Scottie.
Absolutely. You can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can leave me a message there on my website, and it comes straight to my email.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll be back with you next week. And I'll give you that Romans 12:10. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other, or honor each other. Outdo each other and honoring one another, showing love and compassion. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Gaither. Thanks as callers, listeners, guests, and all of the team. We'll be back tomorrow from 6 to 7 a.m. Roll Tide and have a blessed day.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
Thanks, Martin. Have a good day, bro.
You too. Thanks, Joe.